So these are the few airdrops this week that I'm aware of. So over to types of airdrops. There are different types of airdrop, and I think understanding this will really help you to know what where to focus your attention, because there are so many. Majority of the projects you're seeing are just farming the users. They may not really reward their users, or the incentives may be little to nothing. It would have been even it would even most times it would be better that you did not even farm and waste your energy. So it is very good to understand the types of jobs that there are, and this will help you to understand um you know to be able to weigh the kind of rewards that the projects can give, and at the same time you know what you're doing. All right, because not every project is worth farming. It's better to calm down, calculate, and see the one that deserves your effort. But sadly, most of the times these projects, even the ones you calculate and think, okay, this one will do well, you put in all your effort, and most of the time the project does not do a good job most of the time. So it's not always guaranteed. But here are the types of airdrops from here. There are several types, but I listed just uh five. So there is a retroactive airdrop, which is the most popular kind of airdrop. So the retroactive airdrop is okay, I explain them later. So there's a retroactive airdrop, the testnet airdrops, Telegram mini apps or and social fi airdrops, holders slash stakers airdrop, um and combination airdrops. There's also bounty airdrop, but I didn't add it to the slide. So example of retroactive airdrop is layer zero, pizza, arbitrum. Example of testnet that happened earlier this year was DYM. Example of social fi. Social fi is different from Telegram mini apps, but I didn't have time to differentiate, so that's why I added it together. So Telegram mini apps, for example, we heard of, I don't know how many people heard of Notcoin.
I did.
Awesome. And there was dog airdrop. That was I think it was this month, right? Last week or 2 weeks ago. So there was also favor airdrop yesterday, which was really good. Um, that's an example of favor airdrop is an example of a social fire airdrop. Why dog and not coin are examples of Telegram mini apps. If you have if you've been farming airdrops for very long, like from let's say 2020, 2021, you'll be familiar with the Telegram airdrops. But that method of farming Telegram airdrops went, should I say, they went extinct. So now with this introduction of Telegram mini apps, you can now farm. You can now interact with apps in Telegram. So it's redefined Telegram airdrops. So there's also holders airdrops and stickers airdrop. There's combination airdrop as well. So let me give a brief explanation to all of these airdrops type. So for the retroactive, this kind of airdrop involves active on-chain interaction with the DeFi protocol. So it means you're spending real money, you're swapping, you're bridging, you're minting NFTs, you're providing liquidity, you're interacting, you're spending money for gas. Yesterday I was interacting with the project, and I did not even know when I spent up to $10 for gas just last night, and I was really upset. I just hope I, I I just hope the project does well, right? So this is what a retroactive airdrop is. You're interacting with the project. So I give an example for retroactive airdrop here, layer zero. So layer zero is like I don't know how to explain. I don't really know how to explain, like it's layer zero. So we have layer ones like Bitcoin and Ethereum. We have layer twos like Arbitrum, but then we have omni layers. We have zero layer. Like layer zero project is a zero layer, is a layer zero, meaning that it interacts. It's okay. Let me not go too deep into it, but then let me just say it's like a chain or a protocol, right? So that's what the project is about. And they have bridges. They have, you can stake on the. They have official dexes like Stargate and the rest of them. So what you do now as a interactive user is you spend money swapping, bridging. Let's say I want to send you some USDT and I have BNB. Instead of going to Binance or Bybit to swap the money, right? I can use any of these layer zero's DEX is, because I know that as I'm using their DEX, I am using their service, right? But at the same time, I am, interacting with them for possible airdrop. So this is what retroactive airdrop is about. You are actively interacting with a project with real money, real funds. Retroactive airdrop require real funds. And for this kind of airdrops, the more funds you have, the more funds you spend and you use to interact, the better your chances, because there are millions of thousands, there are thousands and sometimes hundreds of thousands of people also interacting with this project as well. So you want to stand out and you want to make sure that your efforts are not in vain. You want to be eligible. All right, so that's why you spend so much on this type of airdrops. So next we have a test net. So I'm sure we are quite familiar with test net. So a test net it involves testers of a DeFi protocol during the testnet phase. So before a project launch in the crypto world, most of the time, most of the projects undergo what they call the testnet phase. So that phase is where the project is almost live, but is currently is on the test phase, meaning that you can see what they have built, but you cannot spend real money at the time. But you can just test out the protocol or the product to see, to help stress test it, in case there is bug and all of that, so that the projects can know where they can put the things they can refine or fine tune before they go live. So for testnet, you do not require real money. For testnet, you use test tokens, or we call them FOSSE. So most of these projects, they provide test tokens, fake tokens you can use to test their, what's it called now, their product. So for this one, it is basically free, and you can make so much money on testing products, right? Because you're not spending any money. And these test nets are usually more like I think they are mostly recommended because you have nothing to lose, right? So if the project does not do well at the end of the day, you didn't spend any money, you didn't spend any gas fee. All right, so I hope you're moving on. Are you getting along? Are you following along? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. So moving on, we have stakers slash holders airdrop. So this is a kind of airdrop given to address people who hold or stake a particular token or NFT. So for instance, there are some NFTs that if you have them, you'll be entitled to so much airdrops. There is this Azuki, there is little pigeons, penguins, and there are so many NFTs you can have. Most times, some projects also have NFTs. If you have the NFT, and they want to launch their token, they will give you their tokens. For instance, the Aptos airdrop of 2022, there was a free NFT mint, and only those who minted that NFT received the airdrop. Therefore, stakers airdrop means are for people who provide liquidity, or you stake your money in a protocol, right? So this one is also a type of retroactive airdrop because it involves real money. So you stake your money, you lend out your money to the protocol or to the exchange, and other products or other brands coming to build on that particular project or coming to build on that chain or whatsoever. They may say, oh, let's give an airdrop to people who you know are providing liquidity or have staked their money, because your stakers are really useful people when it comes to a project, because it means that, okay, people really trust this project, and these are the people that are holding, like your money is invested in this, like you're locking up your money here, right? So which also attracts people, because if you see how much a project has total value locked, if you look at their how much people have locked in this project, it's most times it excites people to come to it excites people to come to that particular project and invest their money, because nobody wants to invest their money where there's no money, right? Where on a chain that, because if you don't see any money there, you feel like these projects or these people, they are not serious, or they are shady, they are not trustworthy. All right. So stakers are very important people. So that's why most of the time many projects drop to stakers, which also encourages the stakers to also, which is also a two-bed one stone thing, because you're dropping to me, and I am also going to trade your tokens and add to your whatever, right? So that's for holders and stakers airdrop. So it's a type of retroactive airdrop, and you get this type for holding or staking particular tokens or holding a particular NFT. An example of this type of airdrop, for stakers airdrop, which one? I think I'll give an example here. Tia and Dimension airdrop this year we are giving to stakers of, I think DYM airdrop was given to people who staked Tia, and just like that. So okay, I mentioned bounty airdrop. So this kind of airdrop is given to you for performing a certain task. So a project can say, okay, like our social media, do this, join our Telegram, do this, do that, fill a form, social activities, and they give some airdrops. There's also the combination airdrop. So this combination airdrop comprises of any of these pre-mentioned airdrops, a combination of them. For instance, so a project can complete its testnet phase and enter mainnet, and then they may do an airdrop for people who tested both on their testnets and people who use their mainnet. I don't know if you understand. So that's a combination airdrop. For instance, DYM Dimension did that. So you get the airdrop if you use their testnet, right? And if you staked Tia. So most of these airdrops are a combination of one or two factors. For instance, Aptos airdrop, even though you tested, you did the testnet, if you didn't mint that NFT, that their free NFT, you wouldn't have gotten the airdrop. So that's a combination airdrop, and that is why it is advisable for anybody who's hunting an airdrop to try as much as possible to do everything you can, and to interact with everything the project has, because you do not really know which they may use as a qualifier for you. All right. So then I added a Shopify airdrops and Telegram mini apps airdrop. So for Shopify airdrops are airdrops you get for interacting with decentralized social platforms. So we have so many social media, Web3 social media platforms. I don't know if anybody here can mention anyone that you're aware of, a Web3 social media platform. Does anybody know? Anyone?
Podcaster. Alpha
Awesome,
Friends.
awesome. So Forecaster and which one again did you mention?
Alpha Friends.
I didn't get you.
Alpha Friends.
Alpha Friends.
Yeah, you gain access to it by being a member of, by being on Farcaster, basically.
Okay. So
Yeah,
Forecaster.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you so
Yeah.
much. So Forecaster is a Web3 decentralized platform. So any other person knows any other one? So there are several Web3 social media uh, platforms or applications. So there's Forecaster, there's Favor that did airdrop yesterday, that is one airdrop. There's there's Lens Tube. That Lens itself has so many other platforms on it. So Lens has like their own like YouTube called Lens Tube. Although Lens recently they recently relaunched, and they are currently called Hey. So Hey, There is which other one again? There is Orb also did an airdrop this year. They gave airdrops to people, to those who use their platform. So there is also Mochaverse. Okay, no. Mochaverse is not a social, well, it's not a social platform. So basically, there are several Web3 social apps, and most of them might airdrop people who use active content creators. So they airdrop to content creators, and people who are active on their platform. So then I mentioned Telegram mini apps, which are the redefined airdrops on Telegram, where apps can be built on Telegram. They launch there and they seek interaction from people, mostly social interactions, and you receive airdrop from them. So these are the different kinds of airdrops. That's basically the different types of airdrops that we have, and they can all be they can really be rewarding. For instance, holders airdrop, there are some OG NFTs you would have that you don't even need to do anything again. Any airdrop on that ecosystem, you would have it. For instance, there's an NFT on Bitcoin called the OG Bitcoin Pass, something like that. It's currently worth I think that NFT is currently worth $18K or thereabouts. So any airdrop at all, I've reviewed the criteria for many airdrops on the Bitcoin ecosystem, and almost all of the airdrops, these OG NFT holders are recipients. So there are some NFTs you have that you just qualify for airdrops. For instance, ZK airdrop earlier this year. Sorry, Layer Zero airdrop. So Layer Zero airdrop, even if you did not farm Layer Zero, if you had Lil Penguin NFT, in fact, you would even have more allocation than somebody who farmed the airdrop for 2-3 years. So it's more like a privilege people get. And I also forgot to mention some airdrop that you get for being eligible for another airdrop. So for instance, if you were eligible for an airdrop, let me say there's an airdrop this year as well called Bonsai. So Bonsai is in the Lens ecosystem. So if you got the airdrop of Bonsai, it means you are really an active Lens user, right? Now, ZK Sync, they had a partnership with Bonsai, and every person who got Bonsai airdrop got allocation for ZK Sync airdrop. So even if your wallet did not enter, you do not even swap, you didn't do anything on ZK Sync, you did not farm ZK Sync at all, but you got Bonsai airdrop, you would have more allocation than somebody who farmed, right? For instance, I got that airdrop on a wallet that I've never used to interact on ZK Sync, and I was surprised because I found this project for close to 3 years now, and the wallet I used to farm for 3 years got lesser allocation than the wallet I did not even use to farm, but that the wallet got Bonsai airdrop. So most of these are like privileges, and that is why it's really important if you're an airdrop farmer, just try to qualify for most airdrops, because even if your allocation is small, most of the time those who received one airdrop can also receive another airdrop. So it's more like a privilege and stuff like that. So that is that for types of airdrop. So if you want to get started on airdrops, what are the things you need? So you need your wallet. You need, for interactive airdrops, you need your gas fee. You need basic DeFi knowledge. You need knowledge to know how to swap, how to bridge, how to provide liquidity, how to mint NFTs, how to run a node, how to deploy contracts, how to navigate that. You need to know all of these things. You need to identify the different chains. The way you farm an EVM airdrop is not the same way you farm an airdrop on the Bitcoin ecosystem and thereabout. So you need to be conversant with all of this and know the different kind of wallets that are compatible with different chains. So you cannot use an EVM wallet for a Bitcoin ecosystem, right? You cannot use a Bitcoin ecosystem wallet for Phantom, for a Solana ecosystem. So you need to have all of this knowledge ready. Uh, 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 you need to know all of these things before you proceed. All right, I need to belong to a community. So a community, from my definition, is a place where you get updates, because the Web3 ecosystem is large, and every day new projects keep launching. So it's really hard for you to just keep up. You need to belong to a community, or follow people who are making researches, 2, 3, 4, 5 people who research on airdrops, so that you can have a clearer view of what is happening in the market, and know what projects you can farm. Because most times, many people miss out on quality airdrop, good life-changing airdrops, not because they didn't want to farm them, but because they did not get the updates early. So this is why communities are important. Community airdrop community specifically, right? So if you cannot be hunting airdrops and you want to go and join a trading community, you need to look for a community for airdrops. Like for instance, I have a community for airdrops where I drop updates every day. All right. So that is what you need, like a community, which and it will help you to it helps you see what you're not, what you don't, what you on your own you cannot see, on the market, and just gives you an advantage. Most of the time, you may have found an airdrop, but they said, oh, those who did not connect their wallet before so and so day will not be eligible, and you do not have that information prior. So even though you found, you missed out on that because you did not get the information on time, right? So this is why communities are important, because you get updates on all of these things. So how do you position for an airdrop, which is very important? I think that's the major reason why we are here. So there is no one size fits all. There's no one strategy fits all. There's no one method fits all. Different projects, different eligibility criteria, right? However, the strategy remains the same, which is identify a project worth farming and interact with the project as well as you can. So I wrote something. I said, ask yourself, what interaction would this protocol likely reward? So if you are a developer, or if you launch a project, if ask yourself, which kind of people will you reward if you launch your own project, whether it's a test net or whatsoever? Will you reward somebody that just tested your test net only one day and disappeared and never came back? Or will you reward somebody who was there testing your website, testing your decks, testing your exchange every week, week back to back, and for months? So which would you prefer between these two categories? Of course, you want to reward the person who spent the most time using your project, using your product. All right. So asking yourself this question will really help you to know um to really know how to narrow down your efforts, because most persons think that it's just to just use a project one day and they will now reward you with 1 million naira or 2 million naira as what. The people don't really give out free money like that way. So you need to put in the work, and then you get rewarded. All right. So if, for instance, um let's use an instance now. For instance, I'm farming hyperlane. Hyperlane is a retroactive airdrop. Sometimes you spend over. Okay, let me use ZK Sync, right, for instance. Okay, no, all layer zero, anyone. I checked how much gas fee I spent on layer zero, and it was over $200 for gas fee alone. I spent tens of thousands of dollars in as my cumulative volume of how much I used to interact cumulatively in total. And then the gas fee I spent was over $200. There are people who spend over $1,000 on gas fee and the rest of that. So if you want to reward, if you are the owner of Layer Zero or the owner of so and so project, and there are three people, one person spent $200 gas fee using your product, or another person you spent 1,000 gas fee, $1,000 using your product, not fake, not testnet or real tokens. Then somebody else spent just $1 on gas fee and just use your product once. Who will you likely reward? You reward the persons who spend the most on your project. So that's why most people they complain, oh, I farmed, I did not get. You farm, but you did not farm well. Right? You just use it one day and you disappear. That's not how to go about it. You don't just use the project one day and disappear, because everybody wants to get this airdrop. So the project, we have like a filter to filter out some people so that the little money they want to give out, those who qualify will get will get something good, right? And they want to make sure they are rewarding people who really use their project. So this is how you position for an airdrop, by interacting consistently. That is if you're really an airdrop farmer or if you're interested in that, right? So next up, we have understanding eligibility criteria. So different projects has different eligibility criteria. So an eligibility criteria is a list of checkers a project use to identify those who will get the airdrop. All right. So these are filters they use. So for instance, they may say if you did not spend up to $1,000 using our product, if you do not have a total volume means how much you use in total interacting with this project. So if you don't have up to like $1,000, you will not receive. So that's like a filter already, because many people may not use up to that amount farming your product. So that automatically becomes a filter, and every other person who doesn't meet that standard does not get the airdrop. All right. So this is what these are what eligibility criteria is, and most times these criteria are many. All right. So there's a hyperlink here for Arbitrum airdrop to study Arbitrum airdrop criteria. So I don't know if I should click on it. Okay, let's just go. All right. So this is Arbitrum. Can you see my screen?
Yes, you can.
Awesome. So this is Arbitrum airdrop. So you can see the eligibility criteria. So you can see the criteria they used. So number one, breached funds into Arbitrum 1. So Arbitrum 1, so if you breached the Arbitrum 1, Arbitrum has their own breach. So if you use their breach and you breached some coins, let's say you breached Ethereum from Ethereum network to Arbitrum 1 network, it means that you have gotten 1 point here. Right. So that means even if you found Arbitrum and you did not use the official bridge, you may not qualify, because many people did not use the official bridge because then the gas was really high. Second, they said conducted transaction during 2 distinct months. So if you use Arbitrum or any of their products or their chain for 2 months, so even though you used it just once in January and you use it once again in February, you will qualify for this point because you used Arbitrum twice in 2 different months. But if you use Arbitrum 2 times in 1 month and you abandoned it, you will not get the airdrop. I don't know if you understand.
Yes.
So there's another point, number 3, for those who conducted transaction during 6 distinct months. So you use Arbitrum products or any other products for complete 6 months, right? Again, number 4, they say conducted transactions during 9 months and all of that and all. And then they said number 5, conducted more than 4 transactions or interacted with more than 4 different smart contracts. So this is another thing that's really crucial when you want to understand airdrops. There is something called smart contract interaction. It is different. You need to understand this because it is different for it will help you to know how to transact or interact better. Now, Arbitrum is a chain, it's a layer 2 chain, and many projects will integrate Arbitrum network. So there are so many projects, right? In fact, almost every DApp, almost every DEX you will see today must have Arbitrum network. So now a smart contract in this regard means how many of these different projects did you use, that did you interact How many different projects did you interact with? How do I put this now? So you interacted with Arbitrum chain, right? Yes. Did you just use only one project, or use only one smart contract, or you diversify and use other smart contracts? Now, what this means is, for instance, let me say now Arbitrum has their own bridge. Using Arbitrum bridge is one contract. So even if you use Arbitrum bridge 100 times, it will count for you as 100 transaction, one smart contract. I don't know if you get that. So smart contract is like the different protocols that you use. Okay, let me put it that way, right? So the more smart contract you use, the more a real user you appear to be. Because if you use only one smart contract and you do 1 million transactions, you may appear as a side bill or a bot, right? Or you may not really, or even if you qualify, you may not get as much points as somebody who diversified and use other protocols. So if I use Arbitrum bridge, let me give an instance now. If I use Arbitrum bridge, let me give an example between two persons now. So let's say person A use Arbitrum bridge, only Arbitrum bridge 100 times. Person A will have 100 transactions, one smart contract. Now, person B used Arbitrum bridge, used hyperlane, used jumper, use Stargate. Now, these are different DeFi protocols. And as a use of these protocols, this person used or transacted on Arbitrum chain. So person B, let me say he interacted with 20 different projects that support Arbitrum. It means that he has 20 smart contracts, 20 different smart contracts interaction, because he used Arbitrum network but on different contracts, on different protocols. So even if person B used 20 different smart contracts and he interacted with them just once, he will have more points. So that is to say he had 20 transactions, 20 smart contracts. I don't know if you get the point. Hello? Are you guys?
Hello, ma. I can hear you.
All right, okay. So person B used 20 different protocols and interacted with Arbitrum using those 20 different protocols. That person, and even if he used those protocols once, he has 20 smart contracts, 20 interaction, as opposed to me who had 100 transaction, one smart contract. Between the both of us, the person B that had 20 smart contracts may have more airdrop allocation than the person that had 100 transactions and one smart contract. So it's very important to understand this. So in summary, what I'm trying to say here is, okay, can I even see that there's more points for those who conducted, if I even go down and down and down and see, conducted more than 100 transactions or interacted with more than 100 different smart contracts. So you can have 100 transactions and one smart contract, but you can also have 100 transactions and 100 smart contracts, meaning you interacted with different contracts, different protocols, right? Not just one protocol. Because if you use one protocol will use one contract. So that's the point. So now you can see other criteria on how much volume used. So you can see conducted transaction exceeding in the aggregate $10,000 in value, 50K in value, 250K in value, breached more than 10K, breached more than 50K, breached more than $250K. So you can see that the more money you spend, this is so just to recap, this is the airdrop eligibility criteria for Arbitrum airdrop that took place last year. So it was a very good airdrop, and that is why I'm making reference to their eligibility criteria. So because using this can help you understand how best to interact with the project. So now using this criteria, although your different projects will come up with different criteria, but this gives you like an overview and helps you know what to do better, right? So you have a project now, a new chain just launched. With this idea, you know that okay, what other projects have integrated this chain? Now you interact with those other projects because it will give you unique contracts, right? And all of that. So I don't know if this made sense. So you can see um that it requires it requires active interaction, requires your time, requires money, and all of that. So um to sum that up, I said different projects has different eligibility criteria. So some use volume, active weeks or active month, how active you've been, NFTs, unique contracts, and so on and so forth. So this is really important. So now if you're forming a test net with this idea of active weeks, active months, you know that okay, if you cannot just farm one day and close your laptop and not return to it and expect that the project will just land 10 million on your wallet. It doesn't happen that way. So you need to be consistent, right? Farming, even if it's not every day, because of course we have jobs, we have other things we do, but regularly you return back to the project you're farming and you interact with them. So this makes you stand out because remember you have competitors. You're not the only one farming. There are people who airdrop farming is their job and they're making so much money from it and they pump in so much money and you cannot actually stand a chance, right? So you need to put in all your energy, all your efforts, do the best you know you can to stand out because there are hundreds of thousands of persons also farming airdrops with you. So it's also important to note, okay, I didn't include that here. I want to talk about fake. Okay, let me continue with this. So here I have notes. So some side notes. Number one, I mentioned, like I mentioned earlier, projects launch every day, new projects, new every day, new products every day. It is very difficult to keep up. Also, it's very important to identify which ones are worth farming because not everything is not worth farming. So make a list of projects you are interacting with. For me, I have a spreadsheet that I use. So put in, I have a spreadsheet of every project I'm farming. I review that spreadsheet weekly. In that spreadsheet, I track my progress. If it's an airdrop I've already claimed, I put in how much I have claimed. Just to even today, I try to before I today I try to like sum up how much I've made via airdrops this year alone, and I made a little review and I said, okay, I just to see, okay, which ones were what did I learn? Just to better fine tune my strategies, right? So you make a list of not a physical list, though. You can make a digital list like with a spreadsheet of projects you're farming and regularly update it. Put the links there because it gives you an idea of what you're farming so you don't forget because you may forget but your spreadsheet is there to remind you okay you're farming this, you're farming that, so you can return back to always visit. Number two, interact frequently. So like we mentioned, using a project once and disappearing does not make you eligible for an airdrop. No way, right? So you want to be an active user and interact frequently. Number three, follow individuals who research and post about airdrop. So there are so many influencers. If you're, I'm sure we are mostly everybody here is Nigerian. So there are so many influencers in Nigeria on Twitter who regularly post about airdrops. You can learn about them. So it's very wise to follow these people, most of them, um, so that you can get updates. Like I said, and also join some airdrop communities so that you can get updates on time. I also post about airdrop opportunities. So before the end of the class, I'm going to drop my link so we can be mutual if that interests you. So also I mentioned be security cautious. Do not click every link you see. So this is where not farming everything you see comes in play. Not everything is worth farming. Not everybody is worth farming. I don't know, but most times I just look at something, I just know this is not worth it. Even though they may at the end drop, but most of the time, most of these projects they stress the user so much that it is not worth it. You want to identify what is really worth it, what you really want to farm, what you think this can really give you good edge up. And instead of farming 20 projects at the same time, it is better to farm four that you know can give you good edge up and concentrate your energy there, concentrate your efforts there, right? Because it's better to get $10,000 from one airdrop than to get $1,000 from 20 airdrop. What I mean, $1,000 is this one give you $10, this one give you $2, this one give you $3, this one give you $5. Meanwhile, the time you would have used to farm the other one that will give you $10K just one airdrop. Use that time to farm things that were not worth it, and at the end, what you got farming 20 airdrops was just $10 or $20, which is not worth it. So not everything is worth it. You want to look at how much the project has raised. Also, you want to look at hype. You want to look at how many persons are farming this stuff. You want to see if it's overly saturated. If you don't have an advantage, there's no point farming an overly saturated airdrop, to be honest, because you end up getting peanuts. That is if the price even airdrop. So except you're an influencer and you have like 100K followers, and you can use your followers and you can use a referral link and you have an advantage there, right? So, but if a project is overly saturated, it's most of the time it's not really worth farming. But most of the time too, some that are really popular are worth farming too. So don't get me wrong. So the point is just try to identify most of this stuff that is not really worth your time. And be cautious. Be cautious. Don't click on every link that you see, because um people know that people are hungry, people need money, people love airdrop. So there are scammers everywhere with fake airdrops. Sometimes even a genuine airdrop will have like a fake, a clone pretending to be the real one. And if you're not familiar, you go and click on the wrong link and you compromise your wallet. So be security cautious first. Be security cautious always, always. Don't click on everything that you see. So most projects do not announce an airdrop at launch. So you are left to your discretion to identify and interact earlier before snapshot. So most of these projects they do not announce that, oh, we have an airdrop. They do not. For instance, Hyperlane has not made any announcement that they will have an airdrop. Jenkins Sync did not make any announcement they will have an airdrop. Leazaro did not make any announcement until even after they've taken snapshots. So it is up to you to decide, okay, to use your discretion, will this project likely do an airdrop? Have they raised enough money and stuff like that? And if your answer is yes, then you can start farming. Because if you wait until the project say, oh, we have an airdrop, then you've already wasted time and you're already late. Because before they'll come to announce, they will have taken snapshots. So for instance, wormhole airdrop was first quarter of this year. Wormhole launched as I think I can't remember, but Wormhole launched December, if not November. And many people since we are comparing Wormhole to Layer Zero, because Wormhole is also like a Layer Zero kind of product, right? So it was a very big competition for Layer Zero. So many persons were like, oh, Layer Zero should quickly airdrop because they will lose their users to Wormhole and stuff like that. But as soon as Wormhole launched, it was not even up to 3 months. They took snapshots. They took snapshot, oh, and the airdrop was live. So the people who were waiting, like saying, "Oh, Wormhole is a new project. Let us wait more and see." They missed out on the airdrop. Even me, I missed out on Wormhole. Although I interacted, but I did not meet some of the criteria because I didn't really start on time, and I was still saying, "Oh, it's just a new project. It's a new project. Let me just swap here and there." and all of that. So they did that to take people unaware. And also they had a budget for how much they want to airdrop. So they want to make sure people who their earliest users got their airdrop, right? So that was how it happened. So if you a project launch and you're saying let me wait for 7 months, they may take snapshot. In fact, what okay, one more even took snapshots before most people even got to know about one more and started using one more. So that is that. So have in mind that most projects will not announce that they will have an edge up. So it's up to you to use your discretion. All right. So these are some tools I mentioned. I said DeFi Llama, Token Terminal. Twitter is a very good tool. So with Twitter, you can have access to these influencers that talk about airdrops, and you can get updates there. DeFi Llama has this is DeFiLlama.com. It has a section for tokenless airdrop, for tokenless protocols. So by tokenless protocols, we mean projects that are already live on mainnet, but the project do not have a token. Most of these projects, they launch their own token to use their own token as gas fee. So if you are conversant, if you can identify some of these projects that do not have a coin yet, and you think they can airdrop, then you can interact on them. Although if you go to the file Llama, you will see thousands of them. So okay, let me know over exaggerate. You see like couple of hundreds of these projects. So it's up to you because you cannot farm everything. So it's up to you to do your research, see the one people are talking about, and know which one you want to do. And Token Terminal, I use Token Terminal because Token Terminal lists projects before their coins launch. How do I mean? So they have like a tab. Let me see if I can go. Okay, I need to turn on my VPN thereabout. So this is tokenterminal.com for those interested. So the idea I discovered this that projects that will likely have a coin, a token terminal will list them even before the project start talking about token. Now they will list them, and in the section where their coin information should be, they will say not available, which means it is not available now, but it will be available soon. Do you get? So I discovered this and I watched that 90% of the projects that Togo Terminal listed before their token launch, 90% of them did an airdrop. 90% did an airdrop. 90%. So you can go to tokenterminal.com and look at projects that have been listed there that their token information is not available. Because it's telling you that okay, these ones they will have a token. And most of the time, these projects they do very good airdrop. So for instance, since 2 years now, if you go to Token Terminal, you see Lens, which is this Hey social app, Lens.xyz, which is currently Hey.xyz. So if you check Token Terminal, you see that it has been listed there for like 2 years, but the coin information is not there. So it's telling you that Lens will have a token. So they just put it there so that it will be easier to just input the details when the token is available. And it tells you that most likely Lens will have an airdrop, and of course Lens will have an airdrop. I'm very guaranteed. I'm very sure that Lens will have an airdrop. So these are tools you can use. So Twitter. So this notion is like a spreadsheet that you can use to track your progress, track your airdrop. All right. So here I mentioned some potential airdrops. So currently, the different kind of airdrops I listed, I recommended a few under the different categories that you can farm. So for the Telegram mini apps, Bloom is live and I think it's cool. I think they will do a good airdrop, just like Notcoin did. And so it's a Telegram mini app project. So Synthia is in testnet mode, and they'll also have an airdrop, hopefully. And I think it's a very good thing. It's very good project to start farming. And I will drop the links to all of these airdrops in the description, in the comments, so in the chat, so that you can you can visit them. So for Hyperlane I mentioned earlier is retroactive. So they may have an airdrop, although it's not announced yet. So this one requires real funds. Then there is CVEX. CVEX is in testnet phase. Um, Testnet. So Lens, like I mentioned, Lens will have a token in social file. So you need to be very active using Lens protocol. I think the Lens handle was about last year. Lens handle was about $200. I remember I sold one of my Lens handle for $100, but right now you can get it for $5. So there's Lens. You make posts, get engagements. The Lens also has like a score. So check. I've forgotten the link to check your Lens score so that you know, because I believe they will use that Lens score to as to give if you want to give your edge off, because you cannot have 2/3,000 and you're expecting $6,000 when your lens score is 2. It means it's very poor. It means you didn't use lens. So you increase your interaction on lens and other lens products. So Unisat is a combination, is a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet. And so this year there has been 2 airdrops in the ecosystem. So you can farm Unisat airdrops because there are so many airdrops in this Bitcoin ecosystem. So that's why I say combination, because I checked their criteria for their recent 2 airdrops, and it was combination of those who had the NFT, those who use testnet, those who use mainnet, those who have Unisat points, so and all of that. So that even under Bitcoin ecosystem, there's like 5-6 projects you can farm, and I already made threads on them on Twitter. So I think even the link is here. So I said airdrop tag. So for everybody who's here, I would like everybody who attended this class to at least have this airdrop, because I really believe there will be an airdrop. So the more your interaction, the better your chances. So that at the end of this class, I want to know that, because I believe I had an airdrop class with Borderless. Was it last year? I think last year. Most of the projects that I listed that we should farm, I think 5 of them dropped after that class. So I'm really specific on this Bitcoin ecosystem, because I've really seen that it's a new is a new is still underfarmed. It is new, is a new narrative. So many persons are not there. So every project launching on Bitcoin layer 2, they want to do an airdrop to attract people. You get to attract people to come to the ecosystem. So there's so many products that will do airdrop. For instance, inside this Bitcoin layer 2, there is dot swap, there's bull bridge, unisat bridge, pizza swap, so many of them. So I put a link to my Twitter, because I wrote a few guides. So let me just copy the link. Twitter. So I love Twitter because you can go to a person's profile, use the search engine in that person's profile, and search keywords. So if you go to my profile, search Unisat or Bitcoin or any keyword, you will see stuff that have dropped regarding that project.